Ladies and gentlemen, the moment the room gets quiet, they reach for their phone. The moment there is no conversation, they turn on the television. The moment they have nothing to do, they search for something, anything, to distract themselves. Why? Because silence forces you to meet the one person you've been avoiding, yourself. But here's what successful people understand. Solitude is not loneliness. Loneliness is the pain of feeling disconnected. Solitude is the power of becoming connected with your own thoughts, your own dreams, your own purpose. There is a world of difference. If you never spend time alone, you'll spend your whole life living according to someone else's expectations. You'll think what everyone else thinks. You'll chase what everyone else is chasing. You'll measure your life by standards you never created. The crowd has a powerful influence. It tells you how to dress, what to buy, where to go, what success should look like, and even how you should think. If you never step away from the noise, how will you ever discover who you truly are? Great ideas rarely arrive in the middle of chaos. They come in quiet moments. They come during a walk with no destination. They come when you're sitting by yourself with nothing but a notebook and your imagination. Your greatest breakthroughs don't need applause. They need silence. The mind is like a lake. When the water is constantly disturbed, you can't see what's beneath the surface. But when everything becomes still, clarity appears. That's what solitude does. It settles the noise, so wisdom can rise. Many people believe productivity is about doing more. Not always. Sometimes productivity is about thinking better. 1 hour of focused reflection can save you months of wasted effort. A single clear decision can change the direction of your entire life. But clarity is difficult to find in a life filled with constant interruptions. If every spare moment is filled with notifications, conversations, entertainment, and endless scrolling, when do you actually think? Thinking is becoming a lost skill. Yet every successful life begins with thoughtful decisions. The quality of your life depends on the quality of your choices. The quality of your choices depends on the quality of your thinking. And quality thinking requires quiet. Don't fear the empty calendar. Don't fear the silent room. Fear a life where you've never given yourself enough time to understand what truly matters. There is another remarkable gift that solitude offers. It teaches emotional strength. When you're alone, there is no audience. No one is applauding you. No one is criticizing you. There is only you. And in that space, you begin to discover whether your confidence comes from within or whether it depends entirely on other people's approval. A person who constantly needs validation becomes easy to control. A person who is comfortable standing alone becomes impossible to intimidate. Strength is built in private, long before it's displayed in public. Athletes know this. Musicians know this. Writers know this. Every master spends countless hours practicing when nobody is watching. Why should personal growth be any different? Your character is not developed during moments of comfort. It's developed during moments of reflection. When you honestly examine your habits, when you admit your mistakes, when you accept responsibility, when you decide to improve, those quiet conversations with yourself become the foundation of an extraordinary future. Most people run away from those conversations. Successful people embrace them because they know something important. You cannot improve what you're unwilling to examine. Solitude also teaches patience. In today's world, everything moves fast. Instant messages, instant entertainment, instant opinions. Everyone wants immediate results. But the greatest achievements are never instant. Trees don't grow overnight. Skills don't appear overnight. Wisdom doesn't arrive overnight. Your future is built one thoughtful day at a time. When you learn to enjoy your own company, you stop rushing through life. You begin observing instead of reacting. You begin listening instead of arguing. You begin learning instead of pretending you already know everything. That shift changes everything, because growth begins the moment curiosity replaces ego. Spend time asking yourself better questions. What kind of person am I becoming? What habits are moving me forward? Which ones are quietly holding me back? What fears have been making my decisions? What opportunities have I ignored because I was waiting for perfect conditions? Questions shape your future, and the best questions are usually asked in silence. Don't mistake being busy for being successful. Some people stay busy every hour of every day, yet never move closer to their goals. Motion is not always progress. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is stop. Sit quietly. Think carefully. Plan wisely. Then act with confidence. Solitude gives you perspective. It reminds you that not every problem deserves your energy. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every opportunity deserves your time. Learning what to ignore is just as valuable as learning what to pursue. Protect your attention. It is one of your greatest assets. Where your attention goes, your life follows. If your attention belongs to distractions, your future will be distracted. If your attention belongs to growth, your future will reflect growth. Make time to disconnect from the world so you can reconnect with yourself. Read books that challenge your thinking. Write down your ideas before they disappear. Take long walks without constant entertainment. Allow your mind to wander. Some of your greatest discoveries are waiting on the other side of quiet. Remember this: the world rewards people who produce value, and valuable ideas are rarely born in crowded rooms, filled with noise. They are often born in moments of peaceful solitude, when one person decides to think differently. Don't be afraid to spend time alone. Be afraid of never discovering the incredible person you grew up. We're capable of becoming because you were too busy listening to everyone else. There is power in solitude. There is clarity in silence. There is confidence in self-reflection. And there is a future waiting for the person who is willing to step away from the noise long enough to hear the voice of purpose within. Most people spend their entire lives surrounded by noise. From the moment they wake up until the moment they fall asleep, there is always something demanding their attention. Notifications, conversations, social media, television, work, and endless responsibilities fill every available moment. Very few people ever stop long enough to simply sit with themselves. The idea of being alone often feels uncomfortable because it forces people to face their own thoughts without distraction. Yet this is exactly where personal transformation begins. Solitude is not something to fear. It is one of the greatest opportunities for discovering who you truly are beneath all the expectations, opinions, and pressures of the outside world. Many people confuse solitude with loneliness, but they are completely different experiences. Loneliness is the feeling of being disconnected from others, even when surrounded by people. Solitude, on the other hand, is the deliberate choice to spend time with yourself in order to grow. It is not about isolation or sadness. It is about creating space where your mind can breathe and your heart can speak without interruption. A person who learns to enjoy solitude no longer depends on constant company to feel complete. Instead, they develop a relationship with themselves that becomes a source of confidence and peace. Every person carries dreams deep inside, but those dreams are often buried beneath the noise of everyday life. Society constantly tells you what success should look like. It tells you what career to pursue, what possessions to own, how to spend your time, and even what kind of life should make you happy. Without moments of solitude, it becomes easy to mistake other people's expectations for your own desires. You begin chasing goals that were never truly yours. You climb ladders that lead to places you never wanted to reach. The only way to separate your own voice from the voices around you is to spend enough time alone to hear it clearly. When you remove yourself from constant distractions, something remarkable begins to happen. Your thoughts become clearer. Questions you've ignored for years begin to surface. You start asking yourself what truly matters instead of simply reacting to whatever demands your attention. You begin noticing habits that have been controlling your life without your awareness. You recognize fears that have quietly influenced your decisions. Solitude shines a light on areas of your life that busyness often hides. Many of history's greatest thinkers, inventors, artists, and leaders understood the value of spending time alone. They didn't discover remarkable ideas because they were constantly surrounded by crowds. Their greatest breakthroughs often arrive during quiet walks, peaceful mornings, late nights of reflection, or long hours of uninterrupted thinking. Creativity needs space. Wisdom requires silence. Insight grows when the mind is free from endless interruption. Your mind works much like a mirror. When it is constantly covered with distractions, it cannot reflect anything clearly. Every notification pulls your attention away. Every unnecessary opinion clouds your judgment. Every moment spent reacting instead of thinking keeps you from understanding yourself. Solitude wipes that mirror clean. It allows you to examine your life honestly, without outside influence. In those quiet moments, you stop performing for others and begin becoming yourself. One of the greatest gifts solitude offers is self-awareness. Most people know everyone else's opinions, but very few know their own. They can tell you what society believes, what their friends think, or what the latest trends suggest, but they struggle to answer simple personal questions. What do you truly believe? What kind of person do you want to become? What values are guiding your decisions? These answers cannot be borrowed from someone else. They must be discovered through honest reflection. Solitude also teaches you to become comfortable with yourself. Many people constantly seek entertainment because silence feels unfamiliar. They fear empty moments because they mistake stillness for boredom. In reality, stillness is where growth begins. Learning to enjoy your own company removes the need for constant validation. You stop measuring your worth by the approval of others because you become secure in who you are. Confidence built in solitude lasts much longer than confidence borrowed from applause. When you spend time alone, you begin noticing patterns in your thinking. You recognize negative beliefs that have limited your potential. You become aware of excuses you've repeated for years. Instead of blaming circumstances, you start accepting responsibility for your future. Personal growth always begins with awareness. You cannot improve habits you refuse to acknowledge, and you cannot change a life you never take time to examine. The world encourages speed, but solitude encourages direction. There is a difference between moving quickly and moving wisely. Many people stay busy every day without making meaningful progress because they never pause to evaluate whether their actions align with their goals. Solitude creates that opportunity. It allows you to step back, evaluate your path, adjust your priorities, and move forward with greater purpose instead of greater speed. As you become more comfortable with solitude, you also become more independent in your thinking. You no longer feel pressured to follow every trend or agree with every popular opinion. You learn to think carefully before making decisions. Instead of reacting emotionally, you respond thoughtfully. Instead of following the crowd, you develop the courage to follow your convictions. That quiet confidence becomes one of your greatest strengths because it is built from understanding rather than imitation. Every great achievement begins with a clear decision, and every clear decision begins with a clear mind. Yet most people never give themselves the opportunity to think clearly because their lives are filled with constant noise and endless distractions. From the moment they wake up, they are reacting to messages, emails, news, social media, and other people's demands. Their attention is pulled in every direction until they become so mentally exhausted that they mistake confusion for normal living. The truth is that clarity is not something you accidentally discover. It is something you intentionally create, and silence is one of the most powerful tools for creating it. Imagine trying to read a map while someone is constantly shaking your hands. No matter how detailed the map may be, you will struggle to find the right direction. Your mind works the same way. When it is constantly interrupted by distractions, worries, opinions, and endless information, it becomes difficult to recognize the path you should follow. Silence gives your mind the stability it needs to organize thoughts, evaluate possibilities, and recognize opportunities that would otherwise remain hidden. Many people believe that success comes from working harder and staying busier than everyone else. While hard work is important, activity without direction often leads nowhere. A person can spend years climbing a ladder, only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall. The difference between movement and progress is clarity. Progress requires knowing where you are going and why you are going there. Silence creates the environment where those answers become visible. Your greatest decisions should never be made in moments of emotional chaos. Whether you are deciding on your career, your relationships, your finances, or your future, rushing often leads to regret. A calm mind sees possibilities that an anxious mind overlooks. When you allow yourself moments of uninterrupted reflection, emotions begin to settle, facts become easier to evaluate, and wisdom replaces impulse. Many mistakes are not caused by lack of intelligence, but by making important decisions without taking time to think. 1 hour of focused reflection can save months or even years of unnecessary struggle. Before taking action, successful people spend time asking themselves meaningful questions. Is this opportunity aligned with my goals? Will this decision move me closer to the life I want? Am I reacting emotionally, or am I responding wisely? These questions require silence, because thoughtful answers rarely appear in the middle of constant distractions. They emerge when the mind has room to breathe. Reflection is one of the most valuable habits anyone can develop. At the end of each day, taking a few quiet moments to review your actions allows you to learn from your experiences instead of repeating the same mistakes. You begin noticing patterns in your behavior. You recognize what worked and what didn't. Instead of allowing life to happen randomly, you become an active participant in shaping your future. Every lesson becomes an investment that improves tomorrow. The quality of your life is directly connected to the quality of your thinking. If your thoughts are scattered, your actions will often be scattered as well. If your thinking is disciplined, your actions become more intentional. Silence strengthens your ability to focus because it removes unnecessary mental clutter. Instead of juggling countless distractions, you learn to direct your energy toward what truly matters. Focus is not about doing everything at once. It is about giving your full attention to the right things at the right time. Modern life encourages constant consumption of information. People spend hours reading headlines, watching videos, scrolling through endless content, and absorbing opinions from strangers. Information itself is not the problem. The problem comes when there is no time to process what has been learned. Knowledge without reflection becomes mental clutter. Wisdom develops only when knowledge is examined, questioned, and applied. Silence transforms information into understanding by giving your mind the opportunity to connect ideas and discover deeper meaning. Protecting your attention is one of the greatest responsibilities you have. Your attention determines where your energy goes, and your energy shapes your future. Every unnecessary distraction steals time that could have been invested in meaningful work, valuable relationships, or personal growth. Successful people understand that attention is a limited resource. They choose carefully where to invest it, because they know that every choice carries long-term consequences. Silence helps protect that resource by creating boundaries between what deserves your focus and what does not. Clear thinking also increases confidence. Uncertainty often comes from confusion rather than inability. When you have taken time to think carefully about your decisions, you move forward with greater conviction because your choices are based on understanding instead of impulse. Confidence is not pretending to know everything. It is trusting the process of careful thought and thoughtful action. People who consistently make wise decisions are not always the smartest individuals in the trade. They are often the ones who take enough time to think before they act. Silence creates the space where priorities become obvious. Problems that once seemed overwhelming begin to appear manageable. Opportunities that were hidden behind distractions suddenly become visible. You stop reacting to every urgent demand and begin focusing on what is truly important. As your thinking becomes clearer, your decisions become stronger, your actions become more purposeful, and your life begins moving in a direction chosen by intention rather than circumstance. Real strength is rarely developed in front of an audience. It is built in the quiet moments when no one is watching, no one is applauding, and no one is offering encouragement. Most people admire confidence, discipline, and resilience, but very few are willing to experience the private moments that create those qualities. Solitude becomes the training ground, where character is shaped, where weaknesses are confronted, and where lasting confidence is born. The person you become behind closed doors will always determine the results you produce in public. Many people spend their lives searching for approval. They want compliments to feel valuable, recognition to feel successful, and acceptance to feel worthy. As long as your confidence depends on other people, it will always remain fragile. The opinions of others change constantly. One day they celebrate you, and the next day they criticize you. If your identity rises and falls with public opinion, you will never experience lasting peace. Solitude teaches you to stop looking outward for validation and start building confidence from within. When you are alone, there is no audience to impress. There are no expectations to perform, no comparisons to make, and no pressure to pretend. You are left with only one person to face, yourself. That is where honest growth begins. In those quiet moments, excuses lose their power because there is no one else to convince. You begin to see yourself clearly, not as you wish you were, but as you truly are. This kind of honesty may feel uncomfortable at first, but it is also incredibly freeing, because real improvement always starts with truth. Self-reflection is one of the greatest tools for personal development. Instead of blaming circumstances or pointing fingers at others, solitude encourages you to ask better questions. What habits are helping me grow? Which behaviors are holding me back? What fears have been influencing my decisions? Where have I settled for comfort instead of pursuing excellence? These questions require courage, because they force you to accept responsibility for your own life. Responsibility is not a burden. It is the beginning of personal power. Character is revealed by the choices you make when nobody is watching. It is easy to act disciplined when people are observing you. It is easy to appear motivated when praise is guaranteed. The true test comes when there is no reward except the knowledge that you kept your commitment. Reading one more chapter, practicing one more skill, waking up early, staying focused on your goals, and refusing to quit during difficult moments are decisions that often happen in complete privacy. These unseen moments become the foundation for visible success. Every accomplished athlete understands this principle. The performance people admire on game day is simply the result of thousands of hours spent practicing alone. Every successful musician has spent countless evenings repeating the same notes until they became second nature. Every skilled writer has faced blank pages in silence before creating words that inspire millions. Mastery is never created in the spotlight. It is earned through consistent effort during moments that no one else sees. Personal growth follows exactly the same pattern. Solitude also strengthens emotional resilience. Life will always bring challenges, disappointments, and unexpected setbacks. There will be moments when people misunderstand you, criticize your efforts, or doubt your abilities. If your emotional stability depends entirely on external encouragement, those situations can easily discourage you. Spending time alone teaches you how to process emotions. Without allowing them to control your failure, you learn to observe your feelings instead of becoming trapped by them. You develop the ability to remain calm, even when circumstances become difficult. One of the greatest benefits of solitude is learning how to become your own source of encouragement. Instead of waiting for someone else to believe in you, you begin strengthening your own belief. Instead of relying on praise to stay motivated, you become driven by purpose. Instead of allowing criticism to stop your progress, you use it as an opportunity to learn and improve. This inner stability creates confidence that cannot easily be shaken, because it is built upon self-respect rather than public approval. Growth requires the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. Everyone has weaknesses, limiting beliefs, and habits that need improvement. Ignoring them does not make them disappear. Solitude creates an environment where you can examine these areas without distraction or defensiveness. You begin identifying patterns that have quietly influenced your life for years. Maybe you procrastinate because you fear failure. Maybe you avoid challenges because you doubt your abilities. Maybe you seek approval because you have forgotten your own worth. Honest reflection gives you the opportunity to replace these patterns with stronger habits and healthier beliefs. The strongest people are not those who never experience fear or uncertainty. They are the ones who continue moving forward despite those feelings. Courage is developed through repeated choices made in private. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, responsibility over excuses, and growth over convenience, you strengthen your character. These small decisions may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they shape your identity. Eventually, discipline becomes natural. Confidence becomes genuine. Resilience becomes automatic. And your character reflects the quiet work you were willing to do when no one else was watching. Every person has untapped potential waiting beneath the surface, yet very few ever discover it, because they spend their lives surrounded by constant distractions. They move from one responsibility to another, from one conversation to the next, and from one form of entertainment to another, without ever giving themselves the opportunity to think deeply about who they are becoming. Solitude creates the space where hidden potential begins to emerge. It allows you to step away from the demands of the world long enough to reconnect with your own purpose, values, and vision. It is in these quiet moments that the future begins to take shape. Many people believe that personal growth happens through dramatic changes, but lasting transformation usually comes through small, consistent improvements. Solitude helps you recognize those small opportunities because it slows your thinking and sharpens your awareness. Instead of constantly reacting to whatever demands your attention, you begin acting according to your priorities. You notice habits that deserve your time and habits that quietly steal your future. This awareness becomes one of the greatest advantages you can develop, because success is rarely determined by a single decision. It is built through thousands of small choices made every day. Patience is another valuable lesson that solitude teaches. The modern world encourages instant results. People expect immediate success, immediate recognition, and immediate rewards. When those rewards fail to appear quickly, many lose motivation and abandon their goals. Solitude reminds you that meaningful achievements require time. A tree grows one season at a time. A masterpiece is completed one brushstroke at a time. A successful life is built one disciplined day at a time. Learning to appreciate steady progress, instead of demanding immediate perfection, creates a mindset that remains committed even when results are slow. Quiet moments also strengthen wisdom. Wisdom is different from knowledge. Knowledge comes from gathering information, but wisdom comes from understanding how to apply that information. Many people consume books, videos, podcasts, and endless advice, yet they never pause long enough to reflect on what they have learned. Solitude transforms information into understanding by giving your mind the opportunity to connect ideas, examine experiences, and discover lessons that would otherwise remain unnoticed. The more you reflect, the more your experiences become valuable teachers instead of forgotten memories. One of the greatest benefits of solitude is the opportunity to disconnect from distractions and reconnect with purpose. Modern life constantly competes for your attention. Every notification, advertisement, opinion, and trend demands a piece of your focus. Over time, these distractions can pull you away from what truly matters. Without realizing it, you may spend years investing energy into activities that bring little value to your future. Solitude gives you the opportunity to step back and ask whether your daily actions are aligned with the life you truly want to create. Purpose becomes clearer when unnecessary noise disappears. During quiet moments, you begin asking meaningful questions instead of simply responding to life's constant demands. What kind of legacy do I want to leave? What abilities have I been neglecting? Which opportunities have I ignored because fear convinced me to wait? What relationships deserve more of my attention? These questions cannot be answered while constantly rushing through life. They require stillness, honesty, and thoughtful reflection. Great ideas often arrive when the mind is relaxed rather than pressured. Some of the world's most remarkable discoveries have appeared during peaceful walks, quiet mornings, or moments of silent observation. Creativity thrives when given room to breathe. A mind that is constantly occupied has little space for imagination. Solitude removes unnecessary distractions and allows original thinking to flourish. Instead of repeating what everyone else believes, you begin forming ideas based on your own understanding and experience. There is also tremendous value in learning to enjoy your own company. A person who is comfortable being alone develops a level of independence that cannot easily be shaken. They no longer feel pressured to follow every trend or seek approval from every group. Their confidence comes from knowing who they are, rather than constantly comparing themselves with others. This quiet confidence allows them to make decisions based on principles instead of popularity. They become less influenced by temporary opinions and more committed to long-term values. Protecting your attention becomes easier when you recognize its true value. Attention is one of the most valuable resources you possess, because whatever consistently captures your attention eventually shapes your life. If your attention is constantly consumed by distractions, your potential remains buried beneath wasted time. If your attention is invested in learning, growing, creating, and improving, your future reflects those investments. Solitude teaches you to guard your attention carefully because it reminds you that every moment spent focusing on what truly matters moves you one step closer to becoming the person you are capable of becoming. The journey toward your greatest potential does not require extraordinary talent or perfect circumstances. It begins with the willingness to create space for reflection, embrace patience during the process of growth, and remain committed to becoming a better person each day. Every quiet moment invested in self-improvement strengthens your character, sharpens your vision, deepens your wisdom, and prepares you for opportunities that others may never recognize because they were too distracted to notice them.